Hello. I'd like to invite you to join me and some friends as I introduce them to the anagogic process during a week-long retreat. The word anagogic refers to this feeling that exists in all of us that there is a higher potential that we can reach. It's this yearning for self-realization. It refers to enlightenment, if you will. And the anagogic process is ideal for those seeking self-realization who want something that really works and want something that works in an accelerated way. The problem with self-realization is that most of us are in what we would call a metaphysical sleep, and it's very difficult to wake up as long as you think that you're already awake. So we use a very powerful yet very gentle tool called the quantum light breath. The quantum light breath wakes you up, even if it's only momentarily. It helps you realize who you could be and who you really are down deep inside, if only you had the courage to let that happen. The quantum light breath will give you feelings of bliss, of ecstasy, of peacefulness, of centeredness. It will put you in touch with the higher aspects of yourself, as you'll see during this retreat. It helps you cut through the mind so that you can see how artificial the mind actually is and that you are not the mind. So we use the quantum light breath as a way to create a momentary enlightenment, which can then later be extended and extended so that you start living in a space of enlightenment rather than in the metaphysical dream. But it's very difficult to do this without the cooperation of the mind. Therefore, we also learn techniques that I call dehypnotherapy, which means the process of dehypnotizing the mind. So we learn how to deal with the mind, how to get the mind to cooperate with us on this quest of self-realization. And you'll see scenes of this happening. By learning how to deal with the mind, we overcome what seem to be unavoidable problems that normally we have a lot of difficulty solving. Once we start learning how to deal with the mind and cutting through the mind to deprogram, dehypnotize the mind, most of our problems seem to disappear very quickly. Also, a big part of self-realization is being in the moment rather than in memory. So a part of the anagogic process is also focusing on the now, what is really, truly happening right now, and not what our mind thinks is happening based on memories, especially in our childhood experiences. So I'd like to invite you to join us to participate in this method through a few glimpses of this week-long retreat. And I do hope that you get some taste of what this is about and how this might be beneficial for you. Remember, the purpose of the breathing is to take in more oxygen than the body actually needs, so that we gradually build up a charge of energy. And while we're doing this, the mind is going to be sending us signals, thoughts, emotions, memories, plans. And when these products of the mind come to our consciousness, just allow them to be there. Don't deal with them. Don't act on them. Don't want them not to be there. Don't give them any juice whatsoever. But don't try to get rid of them. Just allow them to be there and stay focused on the breath. The quantum light breath is not just ordinary breathing. The focus is on the breathing, but our tendency when we sit quietly and breathe is to focus on the thoughts that are happening while we breathe. And what we want to do is follow the principles of a very, very ancient Buddhist meditation technique called Vipassana, in which we actually focus on the breath and don't get involved with the thoughts, with the emotions, with the memories that normally come up when we do this. So from the very beginning, we encourage people to focus only on the breathing and to allow whatever else wants to happen, not to interfere with that, not to get involved, not to analyze it, not to resist it, nothing whatsoever except allowing it to come up and allowing it to happen. So from the very beginning, we focus on the breathing. By taking in more air with each breath than the body actually needs, we build up a surplus of oxygen and in turn a charge of energy. This charge of energy is something then like a slow motion explosion at the subconscious level. And it begins stirring up old repressed wounds, old repressed disappointments, old repressed hurt, old repressed anger. So during this stage there can be quite a bit of catharsis, which is not at all painful. It might look painful from the outside, but it's a tremendous feeling of release for the person involved. So they can experience anger, they can experience sadness, they can also experience joyfulness, they can experience ecstasy. Sometimes people will be just laughing uproariously, the next moment they may be crying, or the other way around. But during this phase, we again continue to emphasize just to allow whatever is happening to happen, not to get involved in any way whatsoever. If people get involved, they're saying to the mind that this is important, and what we emphasize that all the stuff coming from the subconscious is not real, and therefore is not important. So if they can just allow it to be, these things get released very quickly, and it's amazing how much can be released in such a short time. Much, much more than you would ever realize. In one session, you might release the equivalent of months or even years of therapy. After the stage of release comes what we might call the oceanic stage. In this stage, people feel amazingly expanded. They feel amazingly light and at the same time very grounded and very present. They feel blissful, they feel ecstatic in a very quiet way. They feel their connection to the oneness of existence. They feel in an ocean of love. This is a glimpse of self-realization, and for some people more than just a glimpse. It gives them a real taste, it gives them a place to come back to, a place that they know they've been looking for a long time and at last have found.
The breath work that we've done has just been really pretty fantastic. I've never done any breath work before. I've done some other kinds of workshops, and I haven't really had any memories come up, but I've let go of an awful lot. I know an awful lot of emotion has come up and it's just gone. And there have been moments during the breath work when it's just an unbelievable, undescribable feeling of just being here right now and not having to worry about anything or think about anything. It's almost like being high, but it's so much better. You know, I've spent a lot of my life getting high, and I don't do that anymore. But this was just so much deeper, so much richer.
And it fits in really well with what I'm doing in my life and how I see my life as being something that is about growth and self-discovery and awareness and discovering my own authentic being, free of all the programs and the conditionings and the patterns. So I found the quantum light breath a tremendously powerful, supportive tool in being able to achieve more and more of that much faster. I've done a lot of my work on myself for years, and it's been excellent, and I've transformed a tremendous amount. But I just feel like it's accelerated tremendously using the quantum light breath and the whole framework that Jeru uses the breath in, the whole concept and framework of what is now as opposed to what is memory. And in my life, I mean, what I do for a living is lead groups and workshops and have clients and so on, working with them in their transformation. So my life is very much on track of really wanting to just be everything that I can be right now. And this is the best thing that I found. I mean, I would follow Jeru anywhere to do a workshop with him because I get so much out of it. It's really worth it.
It is hard to talk about because words can't give you the taste of what it's really like. Only the experience can. You can only hint at it, and my experience might not be the same as anyone else's. But for me, it's about experiencing my divinity, experiencing my power, and realizing that I'm just the vessel for the universal energy, and that I'm a part of it, and there's really nothing to worry about.
You've just received word that the three of you are going to be on an island together for 5 years. You're lucky. That's the good news. Now, here comes the bad news. You have to make a list of things that you'll need in order to survive on this island. You don't know where the island is, but you have to make a list of what you'll need. So that's fine, that will be provided. You don't have to worry about quantity, like how much of anything. Just what it is that you'll need to survive on this island for 5 years. If you put down something that you don't need, then something that you do need will be taken off.
Well, who decides?
God. God decides. So, most of the time, most of us really haven't considered this very, very much. And that's why I gave you this little game to play. So that you would begin thinking about what is it that I actually need to survive. If this is all that my mind is worrying about, then maybe I can satisfy this quite easily and therefore calm my mind. An important part of the process of self-realization is dealing with one's own mind. The mind is a real creature of habit and prefers to repeat the past, regardless of how unpleasant the past might have been. So we have to learn how to deal with the mind, which is like a huge computer that is buried at the subconscious level. We have to find ways to get to those deeper programs so that we can really understand what's motivating us. And then once we understand what's motivating us, then we have techniques to change those programs at the subconscious level. But first, we have to know what's there. One of the techniques that we find most useful is the pendulum, which is a very ancient technique. We use the pendulum to probe very deeply in the subconscious in a way that's absolutely painless and even emotionless. This allows us to get a good, clear picture without having to go through any kind of agony. And also, it's very fast. So we're able not only to, let's say, research what's in the subconscious with the pendulum, but we're also able to reprogram it and determine the amount of success we've had with deprogramming through using the pendulum. And the more one can stay in touch with the mind, the better the relationship becomes, and sooner or later the mind stops resisting this process of self-realization and begins cooperating with it. What we're trying to do by being in the moment is let go of our past. Even this is something that we need to look at, because in reality there is no past, just as there is no future. There really is only now, and that's what I'm hoping that during this coming week you're going to experience, that there is only now. A part of the now is memory. Your memory bank is like a computer that exists in the now. It's full of old information that exists in the now, but that information is not relevant any longer. I know you're all carrying memories from your childhood, and your subconscious believes in those memories as if they're actually happening right now. But they aren't happening right now, and this is the problem. Your mind is believing in something that isn't happening right now. So we're going to be looking at memory. We're going to be looking at how much of what we call our lives is actually memory. Old tapes being rerun again and again and again and again. Tapes that we're not even aware of. Tapes of memories of experiences that happened when we were born, when we were a year old, 2 years old. And yet they're influencing our lives tremendously.